How do you feel going into this fight? Because I believe you already fought 2 times this year. This is going to be your third fight of the year. How do you feel going into this fight?
Yeah, good. I feel sharp. I feel confident. I'm ready to go. I know that I've fought twice this year, but I don't have any injuries or I'm not knocked up or whatever from the last few fights. So I feel good and I'm ready to go.
Yeah, yeah. I'm asking this because it's definitely going to be hard to your body, to your physique, because it's not only about fighting but also traveling. We know your last fight is in Brazil, then and before that you fighting in US. Fortunately, this one is going to be your home, your home. So how do your body handle that? Handle that pressure?
Yeah. So I don't really have like a recipe or anything. It's just like I've been training for a long time, so my body's used to being in the gym and getting beat up constantly. And now, yeah, the travel does take it out of you, but after a week, max, usually your body's already back to normal and into its sleeping patterns and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, it's just I guess a lot of training over the years has prepared me for it.
Yeah, yeah. So we can expect the maximum Steve Erceg in this fight because you don't have to travel a lot.
Exactly. You'll see the best version of me on Sunday night.
Yeah. And how do you see Kai Kara as your opponent?
He's a very tough guy. He's got a really good takedown defense, and he sets up his strikes well. And obviously, he's got a lot of power. So it's not an easy fight. It's a hard fight, which is something that I'm always looking for. And I just think that I'm going to be able to get out of the way of his big shots and his best attributes and find ways to put my hands and feet and all that good stuff on him and come away with the victory.
Yeah, yeah. Steve, you are from Australia and Kai Kara is from New Zealand. It's like a derby fight. Two fighters battle it out in co-main event in one of the biggest UFC event of the year. How do you see this?
Yeah, it's gonna be ruthless. We have Australia and New Zealand are very close, but the closer two countries or two people are, often the harder the fight or the contest is going to be. You see it in soccer, you see it in football. There's like that rivalry there, and then once you guys have fought each other, then there's all love and support. So we're going to do our best to hurt each other, and then after the fight, I'm sure we'll be all respectful and keep rooting for each other.
Yeah, yeah. And let's talk about your last fight, the title fight. How do you react when you knew that you got the fight?
When I got the fight, I was obviously very excited, but also I thought it was quite funny because my dad had told me that, I think it's likely that you'll get a title fight after the Matt Schnell fight. And I called him an idiot. I said, there's no way I'm getting that fight. And then, they called me. I said, I probably owe Dad an apology. He was right as usual. So, that's how I felt.
Yeah, yeah. Because me too, honestly, I think it's a little bit too early for you. You only, it's not even a year since your debut in UFC, right?
Yes.
Till you get the title fight. So, do you surprised by the UFC decision to pick you as Pantoja's opponent?
Yeah, I was definitely surprised. I figured the reasons probably were they wanted somebody new to fight for the title, somebody that hadn't fought him already. And I thought Mikhaev was probably the next person in line, but obviously with all the stuff that's happened recently, maybe they didn't want to put him into that spot. It just sort of worked out for me in the end.
Yeah, yeah. And tell us about how are you feeling after the fight? Because Pantoja win this unanimous decision, but I think it's a very close one.
Yeah, obviously I was devastated. I've looked forward to that moment and to that opportunity for a long time. And it sucks, but if it didn't hurt that much, I wouldn't have improved as much as I've improved now. I wouldn't be who I am or who I plan to be in the future. I'm going to be in a spot where next time I'm going to take it with both hands, and I really think that I can blow him out of the water next time.
Yeah. And what is the biggest learning experience that you got from that fight?
So I guess there's two. One would be like the confidence that I was able to actually hang with the best guy in the world. You always expect or think that you can, but actually going out there and doing it just adds another level of confidence. And then the number two would be I was very nervous about going 5-5. I've never done 5-5s in a fight before, especially somebody that pushes the pace as hard as Pantoja. So the fact that I was able to get through and then actually be the person pushing the pace at the end of the fight gave me a lot of confidence that I can go in with anybody, and I'm going to be as fit, if not fitter, than they are.
Yeah. And how does it feel to already taste the title fight against UFC champion? Because I think this is a pinnacle fight for an MMA athlete, I think, because UFC is the biggest organization in the world.
Yeah, it's obviously it's what you dream about when you start fighting. It's something that a lot of people don't get the opportunity to do.
Yeah.
So the fact that I got the opportunity, I got the experience, that's huge. I think that can only help my growth in the sport for the future.
Yeah, yeah. And Steve, now you're up against Kai Kara, number 4 in the rank. How far do you think you will be in another title fight?
I think obviously it depends on how the performances goes. In like, do I finish a decision? Do I win with a knockout? All that sort of stuff. But I think likely I win this fight. And I need 2 more fights, and then I fight for a title again.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And how do you see the competition in the flyweight division?
The flyweights are looking very exciting at the moment. In the last couple of years, it feels like they've signed some really good talents, people who are very well rounded, and it's very promising. Obviously, you have Tatsuro Taira, you have Amir Albazi, you have all these different guys that are pushing for a title shot, and I want to beat them all and prove that I'm the only guy. I'm the toughest guy in the world.
Yeah, yeah. Steve, do you have a dream fight, maybe of a rival that you really want to fight in the UFC?
So a person I've been wanting to fight for a while because I respect him so much is Brandon Moreno. He always comes in, has very exciting fights, and I've been a fan of like Mexican boxing and that sort of thing for such a long time, and the way they fight. So I'd love to have just what's it called, a banger of a fight. Just go out there and start slinging leather, and whoever's tough is going to win that fight. I'd love an opportunity like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And Steve, what do you think makes fighters from down under is very successful? From Australia, from New Zealand, we have Robert Whittaker, we have Adesanya, we have Volkanovski, Dan Hooker, maybe Tai Tuivasa, you yourself. What makes down under fighters is very successful?
I think one, for whatever reason, it seems like we had a good Muay Thai background. Like obviously John Wayne Parr's a big one, but we've had a lot of good Australian and New Zealand Muay Thai fighters. So there's like a good depth, a good level of that anyway. But I think it seems like all the Anzacs, they're willing to fight all the hardest fights. They're not picking and choosing. And if you're doing that when you're growing up, or growing up in the sports, what should I say, you're testing yourself more often. Whereas if you're picking and choosing different fights, it sort of stunts your growth a little bit, I think. So I think that's probably the biggest reason why we have such success when we do get to the big stage, because we're already so experienced.
Yeah, yeah. Because in Indonesia, we have MMA fighters, but only one in the UFC right now.
Yeah.
So it's not like Australia or New Zealand. We kind of hard to reach the UFC level. Do you have any suggestion on what should we do to maybe get to the near level of Australia or New Zealand?
The thing that I think will help the most, and this isn't something that anybody can control, it's sort of you need one guy to win a title, because then everybody else in Indonesia or wherever it is going to see that and go, oh, well, we can do that too. And then they'll get in the gym and start working. And then you'll have more and more fighters and more popularity of MMA in the sport. And other than that, it just, more promotions, I think. I don't know how many there are in Indonesia, but the more competition as far as promotion goes, and the more fights people can get, the better they're going to be. So that's what I'd suggest.
Yeah, yeah. Steve, if I'm not mistaken, you have a wrestling background. You are a national champion, if I'm not
I
mistaken.
am, yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And recently, I spoke with Belal Muhammad, the new welterweight champion, and he said that wrestling is the king of MMA. When you have excellent wrestling skill, you likely to be success. Do you have the what are your opinion on this thing?
Yeah, I agree. If you can't wrestle, you won't be successful. You might knock out one guy, but
Yeah.
eventually someone's going to take you down before you land the strike, and if you can't get back up, you're in trouble. So you need to be able to wrestle, and that doesn't have to be offensive wrestling. If your defensive wrestling is so good that you're not going to get taken down, and then you have great striking, then you're going to win the fight too. But you have to have some level of wrestling.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe last time for me, Steve. There are many countries that really good in wrestling. Do you have any plans maybe to go there to enrich you in wrestling skill? Maybe to Russia, to Dagestan, maybe.
I definitely have looked at it, especially after the last fight. I was looking at flights to Dagestan and how to get to Khabib's gym and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But so it's probably, more likely I think I'd go to America and then train over there. But
Yeah.
the Australian wrestling scene is definitely starting to improve. We had 2 people represent at the Olympics this year. So I'm getting a lot of what I need in wrestling here. But going and testing myself against American wrestlers and Russian wrestlers would be for sure recommended, and I'd love to do it.
Yeah, yeah. Steve, thank you for your time. Nice talking to you.
My pleasure. Thank
and
you.
good luck on your fight, man.
Appreciate it. Enjoy your day.
Terima kasih sudah menonton. Silakan subscribe, like, dan jangan lupa komen di bawah ya bola spotter.